Okay, today we are going to discuss primary growth structure of shoot or stem. So what is the primary growth of shoot? So it is elongation of stem or shoot due to the addition of new cells by the activity of apical meristem found at the shoot apex. As we discussed in the root apex, shoot apex also has three overlapping regions. Those are at the tip it has zone of cell division. Below that it has zone of cell elongation. Then below that it has zone of maturation. Below zone of maturation, it has permanent tissues. Okay, then at the tip of the shoot apex, in the zone of cell division, it has apical meristem. That apical meristem contains initials. Those initials continuously divide by mitosis and add new cells to the plant. Those new cells added are pushed downwards to zone of elongation. Then within the zone of elongation, cells are elongated. Then those elongated cells are pushed downwards to zone of maturation, where cells are differentiated. So then the new cells, permanent tissue cells like cells of xylem, cells of phloem, parenchyma cells, collenchyma cells, all are produced in the zone of maturation. Then after maturation, below zone of maturation, it has permanent tissue region. As we discussed in root, here first we will discuss the tissue arrangement in permanent tissues. Here we will first discuss the primary growth structure of dicot plant stem taken through permanent tissues. Then you can get an idea about respective locations. Then you can easily understand the process of differentiation happens at the shoot apex. Therefore, first we will discuss the primary growth structure of dicot plant stem under permanent tissue region. Okay. Here, as in the root, here also outermost cellular layer. Outermost cellular layer is epidermis. Imagine now I am drawing the epidermis. Outermost cellular layer is epidermis. It's a single cell layer. Imagine this is epidermis. Okay, here I will label this as epidermis. Okay, then here in this histological diagram you can observe the outermost cellular layer is epidermis. It has typical features. Epidermal cells are closely packed to each other. Therefore, it provides defense to internal parts of the stem. These epidermal cells are simply barrel-shaped cells. They lack chloroplast. But there are modified epidermal cells. There may be modified epidermal cells in between these normal epidermal cells. Those are guard cells. You know that guard cells cover stoma. Two guard cells cover each stoma. Those guard cells contain chloroplast. Remember, stomata are found in the epidermis of stem at young stages, or stomata are found in the epidermis of shoot at young stages. Then there are guard cells, but normal epidermal cells do not possess chloroplast. Okay. Then those stomata involving gaseous exchange. Generally, epidermis provide defense to internal parts of the stem. Okay. Then this epidermis is covered by a cuticle. That means over the epidermis, it has a cuticle here. Here, thin cuticle is present. This is cuticle. This cuticle is mainly made up of cutin. So it's a water resistive layer and it prevents or reduces water loss from the plant. So here simply I will draw the cuticle here. Imagine this is the cuticle which found surrounding the epidermis. Remember, this is a transverse section taken through permanent tissues. So this is cuticle. Okay, that's about the epidermis. Then inner to epidermis, here you can observe it has cortex. This entire region is the cortex. Here, this entire region is the cortex. This is cortex. Then as the outermost layer of the cortex, or just inner to the epidermis, it has collenchyma tissue layer. Here this is collenchyma tissue layer. So then here in the transverse section, I will indicate collenchyma tissue layer as a dotted line like this. Imagine this is the outermost layer of the cortex, or which is found just inner to the epidermis. So this is the collenchyma tissue layer. This is collenchyma tissue. You can identify these collenchyma cells easily due to irregular thickening of cell wall at the corners of the cell here. These collenchyma cells provide extra support during the primary growth. So here this collenchyma tissue layer is also known as hypodermis as well. So remember that. Okay, then just inner to the collenchyma cells, here just inner to the collenchyma cells, it has parenchyma cells. Mainly cortex consists of parenchyma cells. So here you can observe just inner to the hypodermis or this collenchyma tissue layer, it has typical parenchyma cells here. These parenchyma cells contain chloroplast. Imagine here these are chloroplast. These are parenchyma cells with chloroplast. Therefore, at very young stages during the primary growth, then the stem can be observed as a green structure due to this chloroplast. They involve in photosynthesis. Okay. Then inner to these parenchyma cells with chloroplast, here you can observe there are parenchyma cells with starch granules. Here there are starch granules. Imagine these are starch granules. Starch granules are present in these parenchyma cells. This parenchyma cell layer with starch granules is known as starch sheath. It is known as starch sheath. Okay. Then inner to that, it has typical parenchyma cells. Here you can observe inner to that starch sheath, it has typical parenchyma cells. Then these parenchyma cells in starch sheath involve in storage because it has starch granules. In addition to that, here this typical parenchyma also involve in storage of air and water. Okay, then what are the functions of the cortex generally? So it provides support due to presence of collenchyma, and also it involves in photosynthesis. Then it also involves in storage of food, water and air. Those are the functions of cortex. In addition to that, we said main tissue type or main cell type in cortex is parenchyma. In addition to that, there are some sclerenchyma fibers found in between these parenchyma cells in the cortex. Those sclerenchyma fibers provide extra strength to the stem or provide extra strength to the shoot during the primary growth, or it provides extra support. That's about the cortex. Okay, then inner to the cortex, it has vascular bundles. Here in the primary growth structure, we can observe in a transverse section several vascular bundles. Here it's like this. Several vascular bundles are arranged as a ring. Here imagine it's like this. Imagine this is a vascular bundle. Likewise, several vascular bundles are arranged as a ring, like this. Here, now I am drawing vascular bundles. Several vascular bundles are arranged as a ring. Remember that these vascular bundles are arranged as a ring. Okay, these are vascular bundles. Then each vascular bundle has both primary xylem and primary phloem. Among them, primary xylem is found more medially. That means here towards the inner side it has primary xylem, towards the outer side it has primary phloem. Then in between primary xylem and primary phloem, it has parenchyma tissue layer like this. Here, in between primary xylem and primary phloem, it has parenchyma tissue layer. So here I will label. Imagine this is outer, it has primary phloem. Inner, it has primary xylem. Here this is primary xylem. Okay, then in between this primary xylem and primary phloem, we said it has parenchyma tissue layer. This parenchyma tissue layer is known as intrafascicular cambium. Intrafascicular cambium. That means here intra means within. The cambium which is found within the vascular bundle, intrafascicular cambium. So here there are specifications. We will discuss about these vascular bundles later again. Until then, remember, in the primary growth structure of dicot stem, it has several vascular bundles which arrange as a ring. Okay, then just outer to these vascular bundles, that means just outer to this primary phloem, here it has sclerenchyma. It has sclerenchyma fibers. Tissue layers made up of sclerenchyma fibers are present. So it's like this here. I will draw them like this. Imagine these are sclerenchyma fibers. They are generally known as sclerenchyma caps. You can label them as sclerenchyma fibers or can be termed as sclerenchyma caps as well. They are known as sclerenchyma caps as well. They are sclerenchyma fibers. Okay, then here, now you can understand these tissues. Look at this. So what is this tissue layer? Here we said just inner to the epidermis it has collenchyma tissue layer. So this is the general cortex. So I will label this as cortex. Here, we label here this is the cortex. Okay, then these are vascular bundles. Then in the middle here, you can observe there is a central core of parenchyma in the middle. Here there is a central core of parenchyma. It is known as pith. Clear? So it is known as pith. So this parenchyma tissue region found at the middle of the stem is known as pith, mainly made up of parenchyma and involved in storage. There are intercellular spaces as well in between these parenchyma. Okay, then also you can observe here, look at this. There are parenchyma here in between vascular bundles. In these regions, in between these vascular bundles, there are regions like this. Those regions are made up of parenchyma. That means, in other words, I can say there are parenchyma cells which radially arrange, connecting the pith to the cortex. You can observe here these parenchyma regions radially arrange, connecting pith to the cortex. These parenchyma tissue regions which connect pith to the cortex are known as, that means these tissue regions are known as primary medullary rays. They are known as here primary medullary rays. Primary medullary rays. Those are parenchyma. Okay. Then here, this is parenchyma cap found just outer of the primary phloem. When we are discussing root, we discuss about endodermis and pericycle in the root. But here, typically in the dicot stem, typically in the stem structure, endodermis and pericycle are not prominent. In the roots, endodermis and pericycle are prominently present, but in most stem structures or most stems, endodermis and pericycle are not present. Therefore, we do not draw endodermis and pericycle in a typical structure of the dicot plant stem. Remember that. We do not draw endodermis and pericycle. But in some plants, there may be thin endodermal layer and a pericycle layer. But here, it is believed that these sclerenchyma caps or sclerenchyma fibers have originated from pericycle. Remember that. It is believed these sclerenchyma caps are originated from the pericycle. But we do not draw endodermis and pericycle typically in the stem structure. Remember that. Okay. Here then we will discuss about this vascular bundle specifically. We will discuss about this vascular bundle specifically. You can observe here, in each vascular bundle, both primary xylem here and primary phloem are arranged in the same vascular bundle. And also you can observe these primary xylem and primary phloem regions are parallelly arranged. They are parallelly arranged in the same vascular bundle. This nature is known as, therefore, in other words, since primary xylem and primary phloem are arranged parallelly in the same vascular bundle, such a xylem is known as since primary xylem and primary phloem both are arranged parallelly in the same vascular bundle, such a vascular bundle is known as collateral vascular bundle. Such a vascular bundle is known as collateral. Here I will write the name collateral. Collateral vascular bundle. Again, what is collateral? Collateral means both primary xylem and primary phloem are arranged parallelly within the same vascular bundle. Then it is known as collateral vascular bundle. Remember that. Okay. Then here also you can observe this primary xylem and primary phloem are separated by a parenchyma tissue layer known as intrafascicular cambium. Since xylem and phloem are separated by intrafascicular cambium, this type of xylem is also known as, this type of vascular bundle is also known as open vascular bundle. Got that? In the vascular bundle, xylem and phloem are separated by intrafascicular cambium. Therefore, such a vascular bundle is known as open vascular bundle. Open vascular bundle. Remember that. Here again, look at these two terms. Since both primary xylem and primary phloem are arranged in the same vascular bundle parallelly, then it is known as collateral. Xylem and phloem are separated by intrafascicular cambium, then such a vascular bundle is known as open vascular bundle. Got that? Okay. Here, then we will discuss about this primary xylem. When we are discussing root, we said, based on the origin, primary xylem consists of two main regions. What are those? Those are protoxylem and metaxylem. Likewise, primary phloem also consists of two regions based on the origin. Those are protophlloem and metaphloem. Here also in the stem, we can observe protoxylem, metaxylem, protophlloem, metaphloem. How? So it's like this. Here in the stem, protoxylem that originates first is located towards the medial side. Imagine this is the protoxylem. At this location, it has protoxylem. Here at this region, it has protoxylem. Protoxylem that originates first is located more medially. So I will label it separately. Somewhere here. So imagine. So this is towards the medial side. It has protoxylem. Then metaxylem that originates later to the protoxylem is located more peripheral. to the protoxylem. So here this is metaxylem. This is metaxylem. Got that? Protoxylem is located more medially. Metaxylem that originate secondarily located outer or peripheral to the protoxylem. In the root we said when protoxylem is arranged towards the periphery, such a xylem is known as exact xylem. But here now you can observe protoxylem is located more medially. Then how could we name this xylem? Since protoxylem is arranged medially to the metaxylem, such a xylem can be termed as endarched xylem. So here this is an endarched xylem. Remember, this xylem is an endarched xylem. This is an endarched xylem. Got that? So that means endarched means since protoxylem is medially arranged to metaxylem, such a xylem can be termed as endarched xylem. Phloem also like that. Here protophlloem is located more peripherally. So here in this region it has protophlloem. This is protophlloem. Inner to that, more medially, it has metaphloem. So here I will label cuticle in another location. Imagine here this is, here I will label cuticle here. So then more medially it has metaphloem. Metaphloem. Okay, got that? So this is the structure. This is the structure of, this is the primary growth structure of dicot plant stem taken through permanent tissues. Okay. Label this diagram on your note in the appropriate place. Label the transverse section, and also there is a histological diagram given in your note. Look at that histological diagram. So you can write a title to this transverse section. Write the title as it's a diagram of transverse section of primary growth structure of dicot plant shoot or dicot plant stem. Okay, now you know the permanent tissue structure. Now we will discuss how these permanent tissues are differentiated at the shoot apex. That means as we discuss in the root, we can discuss what happens in the shoot apex, how differentiation process happens to produce these permanent tissue regions. Okay, now we will discuss the maturation process or what happens in the dicot shoot apex. Imagine this is a longitudinal section. Imagine this is a longitudinal section of shoot apex of dicotyledone plant. Then here, as we discuss in the root, here also there are three overlapping zones. There are three overlapping zones found at the shoot apex. So at the tip it has, here you can observe at the tip it has zone of division. So imagine this is zone of division. Below that it has zone of elongation. Imagine here below that this region is zone of elongation. This is zone of elongation. Below that it has zone of maturation. Let's say here this is zone of maturation. There maturation of or differentiation of cells happen. Below that, below zone of maturation, here it has permanent tissues. Imagine this is permanent tissue region. Previously we discussed a transverse section. Taken through these permanent tissues. Now we can discuss how the cell differentiation happens to produce these permanent tissues in the dicot plant stem or shoot apex. Okay, then here first we will start from the zone of division. Here in the zone of division of shoot apex, apical meristem is found at the apex here. Imagine at this region it has apical meristem. At this region it has apical meristem. Here in shoot apex, this apical meristem is covered by leaf primordia and young leaves. So what are the leaf primordia here? This is a leaf primordium. Leaf primordium. Plural leaf primordia. So leaf primordia are very young stages of the leaf. So here in shoot apex, this apical meristem is covered by leaf primordia and young leaves. So think about a shoot apex of very young plant. Then you can observe shoot apex is covered by these very young leaves. Those are known as leaf primordia. Okay, here you know that this apical meristem consists of initials. Those initials continuously divide by mitosis and add new cells. So in the root apex we said the initials in apical meristem divide and add new cells both inwards and outwards. But here apical meristem add new cells only inwards. Apical meristem add new cells only inwards. initials in apical meristem divide, and at new cells only inverts. Okay, apical meristem initials in apical meristem divide, and at new cells only inverts. These new cells added are pushed towards the zone of elongation. You know what happens in zone of elongation. So what should happen in zone of elongation? As name implies, cells are elongated due to accumulation of substances, mainly due to accumulation of water and other substances. Then after elongation, those elongated cells are pushed downwards to zone of maturation. So here this is zone of maturation. So what should happen in zone of maturation? Cells are differentiated. Elongated cells start to differentiate. Okay, as we discussed in the root apex, at the beginning of differentiation, at the beginning of zone of maturation, or at the beginning of differentiation process, three primitive tissue regions are differentiated. Those are same names as in the root apex. Those are protoderm, then ground meristem, and procambium. Got that again? Here these elongated cells are differentiated. So at the beginning of zone of differentiation, three primitive tissues are originated or differentiated. Those are protoderm, ground meristem, and procambium. So then similar process happen as in root. So therefore we can easily understand. So then in root, what is the permanent tissue region produced from the protoderm? It is epidermis. Here also like that. So then here protoderm is the outermost tissue layer. Imagine this is the protoderm. Here I will draw it like this. Imagine this is a protoderm. Imagine this region, it has outermost protoderm. So I will label it like this. So this is protoderm. Cells of this protoderm differentiate and produce epidermis. Okay, let's say this is the epidermis in permanent tissues. Epidermis. Then you know this epidermis may consist of specialized cells as guard cells, or sometimes specialized structures as trichomes. So what are trichomes? Recall plant tissues that we discussed. We said trichomes are shoot outgrowths. They are made epidermal hairs or glands. All these are produced from the protoderm. That means the epidermis contains stomata. Then the trichomes, like epidermal cells, sometimes glands, they are produced from the protoderm. Okay, that's about protoderm. Then procambium, as in the root, procambium produces vascular bundles. That means primary xylem, primary phloem, then the intravascular cambium or vascular bundle. And can you remember, if you recall the permanent tissue structure, we said just outer to the phloem of the vascular bundle, it has sclerenchyma capped region. We said that that sclerenchyma capped region has pericycle origin. So therefore that pericycally originated sclerenchyma capped region are also originated from this procambium. Again, so what are the tissue layers originate from procambium? Primary xylem, primary phloem, intravascular cambium or vascular bundle, and those sclerenchyma caps found just outer to the primary phloem. Those are produced from the procambium. Then, which should be produced from the ground meristem then? You know ground meristem is a filling tissue. It produces here, you know this, it produces cortex and pith. Here, cortex and pith are produced from the ground meristem. Okay, now we will consider about procambium. In the root we said there is only single procambial strand. Why? Because in the root it has only single cylindrical vascular bundle. But we said in the stem it has several vascular bundles arranged as a ring. So therefore, can only single procambial strand present? Can't. Here, since there are several vascular bundles arranged as a ring, several procambial strands also should be present. That means, in other words, like this: each vascular bundle is produced from a separate procambial strand. Since there are several vascular bundles arranged as a ring, likewise several procambial strands should be arranged as a ring in this zone of maturation. But here, in a longitudinal section, we can't indicate all the procambial strands which arrange as a ring. Therefore, we will indicate some procambial strands like this. Here we will indicate two procambial strands. So it's like this. Imagine, here this is the beginning of procambial strands. Imagine this is a procambial strand. This is one. Here then let's say this is another one. Likewise, several procambial strands should be arranged as a ring. Here these are two procambial strands. Then we can label here. So this is procambium, and here in this region it should have ground meristem. In these regions it should have ground meristem. Here this is ground meristem. Okay. Here we said this ground meristem produces cortex. Here outer it has the cortex. So this is cortex. In the middle it has the pith. So here in the middle, at the middle of the stem it has pith. So imagine this is pith. Pith. Got that? Okay. Then cortex and pith are produced from the ground meristem. Then we will discuss the differentiation of these procambial strands. Okay. Then here peripheral cells of the procambium. Here peripheral cells of the procambium differentiate and produce the sclerenchyma caps or sclerenchyma fibers. Imagine this is the sclerenchyma fiber or sclerenchyma cap. Peripheral cells of the procambium differentiate and produce sclerenchyma caps here or sclerenchyma fibers. Okay, I will label this as here, not in this region, in the permanent tissue region. So here imagine this is sclerenchyma caps. These are sclerenchyma caps. Okay, then these regions in the middle of the procambial strand differentiate and produce primary xylem, primary phloem, and in between them intrafascicular cambium. Now recall the locations of protoxylem and metaxylem in primary xylem, and also protophlloem and metaphlloem in the primary phloem. So here if you consider primary xylem, we said think about single vascular bundle. Now think about single vascular bundle. If you consider single vascular bundle, primary xylem is located more medially. Primary phloem is located towards the periphery. That means here this is the middle of the stem. That means medial side. Comparatively, this is the peripheral side. This is the peripheral side. This is the medial side. Medial peripheral. That means from this region of the procambial strand, primary xylem should be originated. Got that? Primary xylem should be originated. From the peripheral region, primary phloem should be originated. Here we will consider one procambial strand. So it's like this. Here, imagine now at the beginning, primary xylem start to originate. So which part of the primary xylem is originated first? It is the protoxylem. So here it's like this. Imagine this is the differentiation of the primary xylem. Here at the beginning, protoxylem. Protoxylem is differentiated. So here this is protoxylem. This is protoxylem. It differentiates first. It continuously present downwards like this. Then later to the protoxylem, metaxylem is differentiated medially. Here you can observe metaxylem is differentiated more medial to the metaxylem is differentiated more peripheral to the protoxylem. So then this part is the, here we will separate protoxylem and metaxylem like this. This region which is located more medially is the protoxylem. Then peripheral to protoxylem it has metaxylem. That's why we term this as end-arch xylem. Okay. Then this is the, here this is the protoxylem again, this is the metaxylem. So protoxylem and metaxylem combinedly produce the primary xylem. So this entire part is the primary xylem. Okay, this is how xylem is originated. Then if you consider phloem, phloem also like that. Here, so which should be the, which part of the phloem should be originated first? Protophlloem should be originated first. Here at the beginning therefore protophlloem is originated. Imagine this is the protophlloem. Imagine this region is a protophlloem. So this is the protophlloem. Then inner to that or medial to that, here protophlloem is peripherally arranged, medial to that later metaphlloem is originated. Here now, imagine now I am drawing the metaphlloem. I will shade it like this. Imagine this is the metaphlloem. Metaphlloem is medially arranged. So here protophlloem and metaphlloem combined from the primary phloem. Okay, this is how primary xylem and primary phloem are differentiated. So then what is this middle tissue layer? Here cells in the middle of the procambium differentiate and form the parenchyma tissue layer found in between the primary xylem and primary phloem. So what's the name given for this parenchyma tissue layer in vascular bundle that is found in between primary xylem and primary phloem? Intrafascicular cambium. So here this middle parenchyma tissue layer is the intrafascicular cambium. Got that? So we can complete the other procambial strand like this. So this is the differentiation process. Now you can draw this. So there's a space given there. So within that space, draw the longitudinal section. So then while you are drawing, I will complete the other procambial strand as well. So here it's like this. Start to draw draw this, then you can complete. Again, this is the protoxylem region. This is a protoxylem. It is located more medially, and this is metaxylem. It is located more peripherally in an enlarged xylem. This is metaxylem. Then if you consider phloem, again here this is at the periphery. Protophlloem is originated. Let's say this is a protophlloem. Product region is a protophlloem. Then later, medial to protophlloem, metaphloem is originated. Let's say this is the metaphloem. Okay, then we can label here. We can label here. So this is the outer, it has protophlloem. Inner to that, it has metaphloem. Okay, likewise, here this region should be the protoxylem. Here I will label it like this. Okay, I will label here. So this is protoxylem in the medial side. So then label this region as the metaxylem. Label this as the metaxylem. This is proto and this is metaxylem towards the medial side. Towards the peripheral side, sorry. Protoxylem, metaxylem. And here this is the conjunctive tissue. Then here you can observe protoxylem and metaxylem combinedly form the primary xylem. Then protophlloem and metaphloem combinedly form the primary phloem. So this is the peak. Primary metal rays can't be indicated in a longitudinal section like this. Okay. Then here, in addition to that, you can draw the longitudinal section and label all these parts. Then you can understand how permanent tissues are originated. Okay. Then here we said these are the leaf primordia. These are leaf primordia. They also mature. They mature and produce young leaves. Imagine these are the petioles or the petioles of young leaves. At the base of the petiole, here you can observe axillary buds. Imagine this is an axillary bud. At the base of the petiole, it has axillary bud. So then in the root we said lateral roots are produced from the pericycle. Likewise in the shoot, axillary bud gives rise to branches. Lateral branches of the stem are produced from these axillary buds. Remember that. Okay, then here we drew only procambial strands only in the stem. So actually, then here if you consider permanent tissue region, vascular bundle, we can say vascular bundles of the stem continues with the vascular bundle of leaf through the petiole. Got that? Vascular bundle of the stem continues with the vascular bundle of leaf. That means you know that inside the leaf it has midrib which contains vascular bundle. That vascular bundle continues with the stem. So if vascular bundles are continued like this, so what can we say about procambial strands? These procambial strands are also continued. Here you have a diagram in the note, you can observe there. Within the leaf primordia also, here in the middle within the leaf primordia also there are, here like this, the leaf primordia also there are procambial strands. Imagine this is a procambium. This is procambium, found inside the leaf primordium. So this procambial strand found inside the leaf primordium continues with the procambium of the stem. Remember that. Here also it has procambium inside the leaf primordia. Those procambial strands continues with the procambial strands found inside the stem. So remember that. So it is indicated in your note. So then here also that means then as the outermost zone of maturation of this leaf primordia, here it should have protoderm. Then in between here outer it has protoderm. This is a procambium. Then in between them it should have ground meristem in the leaf. Okay, that's the structure. So then you can draw this and label. It's not needed to draw these procambial strands in the leaf primordia. It is given. It is indicated in the diagram given in your resource book as well as in the note. Okay, so draw this. Here again you can pause the video and take time to draw. Okay, now we will discuss the primary growth structure of monocot plant stem. Now you know the primary growth structure of dicot plant stem. Then we'll move to monocot plant stem. Here it's like this. Here again we are considering a transverse section taken through the permanent tissues. Remember, here we are discussing a transverse section taken through permanent tissues. So it's like this. It's a transverse section taken through permanent tissues. Here, as in the dicot stem, here also outermost cellular layer is the epidermis. Imagine now I am drawing the epidermis. It's similar to the dicot stem. So then this is epidermis. As in dicot stem, this also consists of single cell layer, consists of closely packed cells without intercellular spaces, no chloroplast, but there may be guard cells in stomata, and also there may be trichomes as well. Okay, then what's the general function of epidermis? As in dicot stem, here also it provides defense or protection to the inner parts of the stem, that is the epidermis. It doesn't possess chloroplast. As in dicot stem, here also outer to the epidermis it has a thin cuticle. At the young stages of the primary growth structure, outer to the epidermis it has a cuticle. Imagine now I am drawing the cuticle. So let's say this is cuticle. This cuticle is mainly made up of cutin. So it reduces the water loss. Okay, then inner to the epidermis in dicot stem. Now remember this as a comparison. In dicot stem we said just inner to the epidermis as the outermost layer of the cortex in dicot stem. Okay, just inner to the epidermis it has a collenchyma tissue layer. But here there is no collenchyma tissue layer in monocot stem. Here it has sclerenchyma tissue layer made up of sclerenchyma fibers, no collenchyma. So then here just inner to the epidermis, here it has sclerenchyma tissue layer. So then here not collenchyma, this is sclerenchyma tissue layer made up of sclerenchyma fibers. Okay, so then it provides extra support and extra strength to the monocot stem during the primary structure. So then actually it doesn't possess secondary growth. Monocot stem has only primary growth. During the primary growth structure, sclerenchyma provide extra support. Remember this, no collenchyma and it has sclerenchyma fibers. Okay, then in dicot stem we said then the inner to this tissue layer called hypodermis, it has typical cortex. But here remember here the ground tissue of monocot stem is not differentiated as cortex and pith. Again, ground tissue of monocot stem is not differentiated as cortex and pith. That means, can we identify a separate cortex and pith? Can't. No separate cortex and pith. It has generally a ground tissue. Within that ground tissue, many vascular bundles are scattered. Many vascular bundles are scattered in the ground tissue. So it's like this. Imagine here. Now I am drawing vascular bundles. Let's say these are vascular bundles. Many vascular bundles are scattered throughout the stem. Imagine now I am drawing vascular bundles. They are not arranged as a ring. They are scattered throughout the stem in the ground tissue. Here these vascular bundles are scattered throughout the ground tissue. Then you can observe many vascular bundles are present. Here I can label these as vascular bundles. Imagine these are vascular bundles. These are vascular bundles. And here this is the ground tissue. So this is ground tissue which is mainly made up of parenchyma. Ground tissue mainly made up of parenchyma. As in dicot stem, this ground tissue involves in mainly storage. Here you can observe this ground tissue is not differentiated into cortex and pith. In the ground tissue, many vascular bundles are present. So here, as in dicot stem, these vascular bundles also consist of both primary xylem and primary phloem. Here, I can indicate like this. Here, as in dicot stem again, towards the inner side or towards the medial side, it has primary xylem. Outer to that, it has primary phloem. So this is primary phloem. Inner it has primary xylem. Outer to that, it has primary phloem. We gave a name. Here, look at this. As in dicot stem, both primary xylem and primary phloem are arranged parallelly within the same vascular bundle. So then, therefore, this type of vascular bundle in monocot stem can also term as a collateral vascular bundle. We said collateral. Here, this is also collateral vascular bundle. That means in the same vascular bundle, both primary xylem and primary phloem are arranged as parallel regions. This is a collateral vascular bundle. But remember here there is a difference. there is no intravascular cambium. In dicot stem, there is an intravascular cambium, but here there is no intravascular cambium or parenchyma tissue layer. Here, therefore, that's why I indicate the separation or the region that separates xylem and phloem as a dotted line. Actually, there is no tissue layer. That's why I indicate it as a dotted line. Then here, there is no intravascular cambium. Then in dicot stem, we said when xylem and phloem are separated by intravascular cambium, such a vascular bundle is known as open vascular bundle. In opposite, here we can say since there is no intravascular cambium to separate xylem and phloem, this vascular bundle can be termed as closed vascular bundle. Memorize these names additionally. Okay, here then if you consider primary xylem, you know that it has two regions based on the origin, protoxylem and metaxylem. Here in this primary xylem, protoxylem that originates first is arranged towards the medial side. So this is protoxylem. It is arranged towards the medial side. Metaxylem that originate later arranged towards the periphery. So which kind of xylem is this? Therefore, since protoxylem is arranged towards the medial side, this can also term as a endarched xylem. Endarched. So therefore, now you can generally memorize. In roots, monocot or dicot roots possess exarched xylem. Then the stems, monocot or dicot stems possess endarched xylem, where protoxylem is arranged towards the medial side, metaxylem is arranged peripheral to protoxylem. Phloem also like that. Protophlloem is arranged towards the periphery, as in dicot stem. Metaphlloem is arranged towards the medial side. Okay. Then another thing. Here in dicot stem we said there is a sclerenchyma cap just out of the phloem, but such a sclerenchyma cap is not found in monocot vascular bundles. But here each of these vascular bundle is surrounded by sclerenchyma fiber. Here you can observe each of these vascular bundle is surrounded by sclerenchyma fiber tissue layer, sclerenchyma fiber layer. And here it's somewhat like a bundle sheath, sclerenchyma bundle sheath. So here these are sclerenchyma fibers. Sclerenchyma fibers. It is not a sclerenchyma cap. We can just simply term it as sclerenchyma fibers. Okay, it's like this. So then there are differences. Remember those. Okay, now you can draw this. But there is one more additional thing. So just draw this. I will tell that additional thing. So take time to draw this and label all these parts. One more thing should be stated about this xylem, actually vascular bundles. Okay, draw this. Okay, then here it's like this. Then if you enlarge vascular bundle to take space, I will draw this part, this region. You can label. I think you got time to draw those. Then here if you enlarge a vascular bundle, so it's like this. Here if you enlarge a vascular bundle, it's like this. Imagine this is a enlarged vascular bundle. We said each vascular bundle is surrounded by sclerenchyma fiber tissue layer or sclerenchyma bundle sheath. Imagine this is the sclerenchyma. Imagine this is sclerenchyma fiber tissues, sclerenchyma fibers or sclerenchyma bundle sheath. Then in the vascular bundle we said, so this is outer, it has primary phloem. This is primary phloem. Inner it has primary xylem. So in this region it has primary xylem. This has primary xylem. Okay, I want to say here look at this. You know, in primary xylem, protoxylem is arranged towards the medial side. Imagine this is the medial side of the xylem. We enlarge this type of xylem and imagine this apex is the medial side. So then here towards this region it has protoxylem. This is protoxylem, medially arranged. Metaxylem is arranged peripheral to protoxylem. So let's say this is metaxylem. Okay, here in monocot stem, primary xylem consists of three main vessel elements. Here one comparatively small vessel element is found towards the protoxylem, and also there are two large vessel elements here in the metaxylem region. Three main vessel elements can be clearly observed in the primary xylem region. Imagine these are the vessel elements. Okay, then it's like this. 3 main vessel elements. But in dicot stem, many vessel elements are found in the primary xylem region. But here in monocot stem, only 3 main vessel elements are distinguished. Then there's one more thing. With the maturation of the plant, parts of this protoxylem can be broken down. Here, parts of this protoxylem can be broken down with the maturation of the plant and form a continuous cavity inside. Part of the protoxylem is broken down in the maturity and form a continuous cavity inside. Then this cavity is known as lysigenous cavity. Lysigenous cavity. Simply what's it? Get the meaning? That means this is a cavity. So here genus means genesis or production. Lys means breaking down. So in this is a cavity which is formed by breaking down of protoxylem. So therefore it is known as lysigenous cavity. So then it is also filled with water. So it is continuously found inside along the length of the stem, lysigenous cavity. Such a cavity is not found in primary xylem of dicot stem. Okay, now complete the diagram. Here I haven't drawn sclerenchyma fibers surrounding each of these vascular bundles, but remember they are found surrounding each of these vascular bundles. Okay, now finally, so this is the primary growth. Now we discuss the primary growth of dicot root as well as dicot stem today, and also we discuss the primary growth of dicot stem, dicot root, and also monocot stem, monocot root structure. Then here and also we discussed how primary growth happen at the shoot apex and the root apex. Here there are differences. There are differences between the shoot apex and root apex. So there are basic differences. So one simple difference first difference is we can say simply root apex is found at the tip of the root. Shoot apex is found at the tip of the shoot. It's a simple difference. It's simply given in your resource book. Okay. Main difference is, so think about the apical meristem found in shoot apex and root apex. In root apex, apical meristem is covered by root cap. We said it last day. But here today we discuss in shoot apex, apical meristem is covered by leaf primordia and young leaves. That's the main difference. Remember that in root apex, apical meristem is covered by root cap, but in shoot apex, apical meristem is covered by leaf primordia and young leaves. Okay, that's the main difference. Third one, think about the activity of initials. In root apex, initials of apical meristem at new cells, both inwards and outwards. Can you recall? We said last day, previously, initials of apical meristem of root apex at cells inwards as well as outwards towards the root cap. Okay, then but in the shoot apex today we discuss apical meristem at new cells only inwards towards the zone of elongation. That's the difference. Again, repeat it. In the root apex, apical meristem at new cells both inwards and outwards, but in the shoot apex, apical meristem at new cells only inwards. Okay, that's about the primary growth. Then as the next part we can discuss the secondary growth process happen in this dicot plant stem and dicot plant root.